to work. I have the worst luck on the vertical streams, I swear, and I'm trying to figure it out. Truly, I'm trying to figure it out. So hopefully everybody jumps on over here. If not, you can catch it on the replay. Hey, DJ Goldenheart 69, welcome. Welcome. You made it, K-Rad. I was wondering if you would come over. Okay, good. I'm glad you can see me now. We back. We back. That's right. All right, I'm going to start yapping as I'm welcoming you guys in because I wanted to, we'll make this fairly quick. Number one, Christmas tree is up. I'm loving it. I decided to start early because I haven't put a tree up in like 3 years. 3 years. That's right, Tina. We don't have to be afraid of the dark anymore. The lights are back on. Aloha, Boxer Heather. Aloha, everybody. But even if I turn, it's for some reason it's live streaming on my phone, and I'm trying to figure out why almost every time it ends up going, just going black like that. Hey, Lori Plays. Okay, here's something. Here's actually the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about that I realized. With my background, if you're new to my channel, I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult. I spent 35 years in the cult of Scientology and left with 3 generations of my family. So it's what I grew up in. And you guys, Arnine, I'm so glad you're here. Becky, I see you. Joe and Julie too. Thank you, Dr. MLS, for reminding people to tap that screen for a like. So I have 2 girls and 1 boy, my kids, who are all grown. Okay, Boxer Heather, that's good to know. Aaron had the same problem with his phone going black. Pretty sure he knows how to fix it. He was just in the chat. I'm going to have to ask him. Is it Celtic or Celtic Sailor? But welcome. Hey, Witchy Trista. I was feeling witchy earlier. I had to break out my Palo Santos and do a whole thing in my office. Hey, Carrie Ann, it's good to see you too. Yes, Joe, that is a Christmas tree. I'm all about it because I haven't put one up in 3 years. Hey, Miss Sunrise Dawn, so glad you're here from Georgia. Driving and listening, awesome. Hey, Laura, Cubana Chica, hola, good to see you. Hey, Jamie. Denny, you have 2 girls and a boy too. Very cool. Maya, good to see you. Good to see you indeed. Okay, so with my daughters, who were mostly raised when I was still in the cult, but I did not use a lot of, the way I was raised, I wanted to do it differently with my daughters, even though I was still in a cult. Tasman, hello. That crazy Canuck, I'm glad you're getting out your Christmas stuff. More people need to do it. I'm all about let's do it. Jamie, yes, hashtag abolish Scientology. So when I was raising my girls, and it's also kind of the time, I'm a Gen X, they're millennials, my girls. I think my son is barely a millennial. He might be is he Gen Z? No, I don't know. Anyways, he's like 25. So in raising the girls, hey, Aaron, we got to talk later because you got to tell me how you fix it when the screen goes black because that's what I had happen. It freezes like that, even though I have full internet. Killer Key, I was a part of Scientology, the cult of Scientology for 35 years, and I left with 3 generations of my family. Sanjeet, I am good. Okay, so anyways, before I get too off track here, hey, Asen. My daughter said something to me when we were cleaning out the garage that just kind of rocked my world and made me realize a few things about, raising my kids and my kids, whether it's in or out of Scientology. Muhammad, it was a bunch of things. I can't get into it right now because I got a specific thing I want to talk about. But if you go to my channel, I've got a ton of videos about it, and it's going to blow your mind what it actually took for me to leave. Hunter, that's funny. Tazi, it's going to cost more than $2 for you to see my feed, but thank you for asking. Stolen lands, I left. I just left. I left because I was what's called a public Scientologist. I wasn't a staff member or Sea organization member at that time. I was living in my own house and all that, so I was able to leave. Grace Case, welcome to Naughty Never In. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. William, I agree. I agree completely. I know, right, Dr. MLS? Okay, so I was cleaning out the garage, and my brother-in-law came over to help because I don't know what certain tools are. And for anybody new and jumping on, my partner passed away 5 months ago. And I didn't do any of the garage stuff, and I don't know a lot about, tools. And so he came over to help with that. But my daughter, who's grown, she's in her 30s. Thank you, Vita. She wanted to learn like how to empty the gutters, and she did. Like, he showed her how to do these things for around the house. Like, I just learned how to shut off the outside water, that you have to take off the hoses and then putting them away. You can't leave them out. I live in Minnesota where it gets super cold. So there's these things we have to do to winterize the house that I did not know how to do because my partner, he always took care of it. And also I grew up in Hawaii. So let's be real. It's, you're not going to learn how to winterize a house when you've grown up in Hawaii, like I did. And she's learning all these things, and she's so excited about it. And we're talking about it later. And you know what she said to me? She said that she didn't realize how easy some of these things were because she just never learned it. And that she felt she was so easily impressed by some guys. Well, she mentioned a particular ex-boyfriend from a long time ago. She was so impressed by something so simple that he did because she didn't realize how easy it was to do it because she never learned those things, whether it had something to do with a car or even just hanging things and using a level, because she never learned that and was never shown that. And we had this whole conversation about how I wasn't taught a lot of those things too. And I didn't know if it was a cult thing or a generational thing, because I'm 54. I'm a Gen Xer, and many of us who were raised by our parents who were boomers, they did it in a more, the traditional male-female roles where, a man takes care of these things and a woman takes care of these things. And that is just not the way that it is anymore. We have gender equality and even not even having traditional roles. When my partner was sick, when he was going through his cancer journey, he was doing a lot more of the things around the house at home when he had the strength to do it, because I was out working to support us. And so, today those roles just aren't so black and white. And I think that's a wonderful thing. But it made me wonder, like, okay, why didn't I didn't know how to do some of these things, like cleaning gutters and the things you got to do to get a house ready for winter time, or even things with my car, So, but by not teaching my girls that, or make sure they didn't know how to do those things either. But it resulted in, the way she articulated it, that the bar wasn't set very high for her to be impressed. It was actually set kind of low, and how that affects how we choose our partners. So specifically, I'm kind of talking more about, for women. How much does what we know or don't know how to do play into the partner that we choose for ourselves? And do we choose somebody who may not be right for us just because we think they can do all these things, and those things are actually really simple and we could actually do them for ourselves? Because today, and I see this with my girls, and it's been my experience, they're learning how to be more independent. They're being raised to be more independent than I was when I was growing up. And I don't think it was a cult thing. I think it was generational as well as a cult thing, let's be honest. And Becky says, I was a curious girl. My dad taught me, first female in an all-male shop class in high school. Exactly, Becky, and that is what I'm talking about. And I wanted to kind of get feedback from all of you who have kids, especially girls or boys. Are you teaching your boys how to take care of a home? Are you teaching your girls how to take care of their car? and vice versa. All of the things. I feel like kids today are getting a more well-rounded education about these things at home. Let's see what Julie says here. I never learned those things either. I'm a Gen Xer too, and my mom always said that my job was to study. I can do calculus, but I don't know how to do anything practical. And many of us figure it out or learn it later in life. But it blows my mind what I don't know how to do in terms of, things that Tony always took care of. And I got to say this, he always tried to show me. He told me over and over again, you should know how to do this. Come here and I'll show you how to do it. And I really wish I would have listened so much more. Because now I'm having to learn those things because he's not here to do it. And, but I'm really seeing how much more helpful it would have been if I knew those things. And in trying to raise my daughters and my son to be more independent, I realized, different from my parents, I've been trying to show them more how to do all things for ourselves. Connie, yeah, your husband has 3 brothers, no sisters, and mom did everything for them. And how did that work out? How did he, does it really show? Chicolino in South Africa, it's a must with your kids. Yeah. Joe, you've been a single mom for 19 years and he relies on you for everything. Bella notes. Wow. See, that's fantastic. And it's so great to hear that you've passed those things on to your daughters. Deanna Downey says, my mom taught me nothing because she was taught nothing. Yes, that's what I'm realizing. The things, how I would do it differently today if I was raising my children, the things that I would show my son and make sure he knew how to do, the things I would show my daughter, because I do believe, Sankey, no, I'm not French or Italian. I'm Polynesian and a mix of other things. I just feel like we prepare our children so much better for the world when we can actually show and teach them how to take care of themselves, how to do all of the house things, how to do the car things. Becky, that's amazing. You got it from your mama. She climbed a roof to help shingle it. She was a great role model and she showed you how to cook. That's amazing. Wisconsin Barb, 65, didn't learn, couldn't teach, which I've been taught. Yeah, and I think that's something common in women our age, the way that we were raised. But how we're raising our kids today, I do believe is different. Yep, Connie, you would raise a son to take care of himself, all those things. I think it makes them better partners. Asen, that is amazing. So you do teach them everything. Okay. Connie says, so did my mom, but my dad was just as good as she was with housework. Okay. Deanna Downey, you took an auto mechanics class in high school. There's such value in that. Max, your dad was the oldest. Oh. Your dad was the oldest with an incompetent dad, and he learned it all from his mom. I think that's so powerful. Sankey, and I mean, you might not be far off about AI raising our kids. I mean, already, I think of all the times where I remember when my kids got to a certain age where they weren't asking me questions so much anymore. They would just say, oh, I'll just Google it. Kelly, you taught your son how to drive when he was in the 5th grade. Wow. Connie, both your daughters weren't interested in cooking. See, I wish I would have had somebody to teach me how to cook. Because now I suck at it. I don't have, I mean, I could learn it now, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm really struggling with cooking. Ruth, that is amazing. Ruth says, I'm building my daughter a log cabin so she can learn some carpentry skills. That is what I'm talking about. That is so cool. And that's amazing that you can do that too. Wisconsin Barb couldn't teach, but my daughter can do anything herself. Wow. Celtic Sailor, I'm Gen X. I have 2 boys and 3 girls ranging from 18 months to 15. They will know how to do everything that my wife and I can teach them. That's fantastic. That's great to hear. Deanna Downey, you're a boomer? I'm catching up here, you guys. It's so fascinating, and I'm really seeing how it affects the type of partners that our children choose or we choose. Because so much of that, sometimes it's like, well, this person was able to do this for me, so, I felt like I needed them. It's just making me question, how do we choose if we're, when you're independent and there's nothing that you can't do for yourself or find a way, does that affect who we choose as a partner? Bella notes, my daughter's 29 now, and although she was taught things, her friends were not. Okay. And Annette says, we made sure our kids all knew how to cook, clean, basic maintenance, home care, car care. They've taught their kids the same. That is awesome. Wow, Sneaky Jellyfish, you drove yourself to school in the 8th grade with a stick shift. Wow. Julie Markham, so your mom taught your brother how to cook and clean. She said she didn't want him to be a plague on his future wife. God bless your mother. I guess you thought I would figure it out. Wow. Yeah, Connie, I think that's what it is. It just doesn't interest me. It never has. I had to cook enough to feed my kids when they were growing up. And I've apologized to them multiple times for my lack of skill in that area. Alex, bonjour. Hey, Club Brain Fog. My mother could do all of the guy things, but she didn't teach me because she thought I should be successful and hire people to do it. I really regret not making her teach me. Interesting. Club Brain Fog. I don't know if I've ever asked you this too, because I think you're Native American, right? My mom, well, I am. My grandfather was born on a reservation in Washington. Sneaky Jellyfish, your 7-year-old daughter drives a stick shift. Oh, with you on your ranch. But at least she knows how. This is kind of the thing I'm saying. It's like being able to do these things, I think, gives us so much more independence. Connie, you've always loved cooking and all of that. Yeah. Yeah, Sneaky Jellyfish, you're right. Parents choose what's best to a certain extent. My mom didn't put value on some of those other things. She just always assumed I would be with a man. And that's kind of the mentality that she had was, well, you just need to know to do these things so you can be a good wife. And that was my mother's generation and how she was raised. I can't even blame it on the whole cult thing. Mayor's girl, so your mom really liked to clean house, and so she did it herself. Yeah. And I like to know how to do things. And then if I'm in a position, like I need to learn how to use the lawnmower, I need to learn how to use the snowblower. And it could be that I hire people to be able to do it for me, but I still want to know how to do it. What if they don't show up? Sometimes in Minnesota, we get some bad snowstorms, and I don't want to be stuck in my driveway. I mean, there's always the shovel, yes, but I don't have the back for that. But I'm finding myself being in a position for the first time in my life because I realized the other day, between my Tony and my former husband, I've been just consistently most of my adult life depending on somebody else to do the things I didn't know how to do. And for the first time, I'm like, you know what? I should actually learn these things. And it's not too late to teach my kids, even though they're grown up and on their own. Cajun Mama, I'm a baby boomer and learned from my dad to take care of cars and outdoors and mom's housekeeping. Yeah. My dad wasn't really active in my life for most of the time when I was growing up. And my stepdads, plural, just didn't really step into that role. Asen, Gen X here. My ex was a horrible person who was happy that we live in a patriarchy. I'm adamant to teach my kids that they shouldn't depend on classic gender roles. Yes, very much so. And I think the millennials were kind of like the first generation to be, well, Gen X women for sure. But it's becoming more commonplace, and I'm excited by that. I feel hopeful by that. And that even there are guys learning to do things that were traditional before a more female role. childcare, raising your children, so many things. Oh, Mark, I noticed that too. People who grew up more rurally learned how to do more of these things. Deanna Downey, I wish I would have taken more interest in gardening from my grandparents. Oh, I hear that. Julie, that's funny. Your husband looks like your dad. Well, they say you marry one parent and become the other. I don't know how true that is. Let's hope it's not. Armine, my husband was taught to do everything, even to sew a hole in his sock, which surprised me so much when he asked me for a thread and needle. Yeah, my Tony was like that too. There's a lot that he would do in that way for himself, and even me. I mean, I don't even know how to sew on a button. I need to learn that too. Kathy, my mom said she raised me to be too independent, and that's why I never got married. But that's kind of the thought that I've been having too. It's like, how much of the choices that we make in a partner are driven by the needs that we have that aren't necessarily, I guess they are partner related. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you knew how to do all those things, you're not lacking. There's no hole there. And what my daughter said about being easily impressed by a guy who could use a level, and then when she learned how to do it, realized that's not that big a deal, and maybe she would have seen him differently or chosen differently. I mean, she was really young back then, but still, it just really got me thinking. And because I grew up in a cult, sometimes I'm not sure, was it my cult upbringing or was it a generational thing? And I think this is more generational. My mom came from a different generation, and how she raised me and what she valued or wanted me to know as her daughter, I think was different, and we're seeing it differently today. Except for Becky, her mom sounds super badass and taught you all kinds of things. Wow, Becky, that's amazing. Laura, okay, you're a Gen X and you have a 9 and 7-year-old. You have a hard time teaching them things because everything is so automated now. There's an app for that. That's true. That's the other thing that kind of scares me, is we're so dependent on technology for so many things that what if you don't have that? I had my GPS go out, or it was like my GPS. While I was driving, I had to pull over, and it was tied to my phone, so something was going on with my Maps app, and I could not get, something was going on with my phone, and I couldn't get it to work, and I did not know where I was. And it was someplace like I had even gone before, and I realized I'm so dependent upon my GPS. So now I keep a map in the car, a paper map, like one of those, multi-page maps. I keep it in the car because that happened to me. Club Brain Fog. My father was born on a reservation, and he was given to another relative outside the res when his mother died in childbirth. He has no birth certificate. Something like that happened to my grandfather. My grandfather was born on the reservation, and his mom took off. And this was back in the day when they were taking children from families on the reservation if the United States government felt that, it wasn't a good situation. He was taken. In fact, his father ran away, got the daughter and ran away, but wasn't able to grab his son, and he was taken and put with a Caucasian family who ended up being really abusive, and it was a whole bummer. I don't know why you bother adopting a child if you're going to treat him like that later, but big issue, huge issue. Wow, Connie, that's a stressful way to learn how to drive a stick. Hey, Scientology geek. Well, Joe, that goes to show that it's never too late to learn. My brother didn't cook anything, but his wife burns boiled eggs, so he had to learn how to cook for himself, and he's a great cook now. Yeah, my Tony was a phenomenal cook. Exactly, just a northern girl. I fixed my, I think it's called a shower diverter, where you pull the thing and the water comes out the top. I had to fix that. With the help of YouTube and your suggestions, I was able to free a dog when I accidentally locked my daughter's dog downstairs, and the handle came off. YouTube and you guys here give me great ideas. Wow, you're learning homesteading at your place in Kentucky. I love that. Yeah, YouTube, you can learn everything. Annette says, my oldest grandson's friends routinely get together at each other's house to host. They're always amazed when it's his turn, and he home cooks everything, even biscuits. They order takeout on their turn. Wow. Hey, Jersey Jan. Julie, you had plural stepdads too. Kelly Copter, aloha. You know, I'm having a good week, but it's just this daylight savings time is just thrown me. I was so tired yesterday. So I feel, yeah, I was like, yesterday, I was like, this week is crazy. And then I'm like, crap, it's Tuesday. Nowhere near over. That's right, Connie. Back in the day, we had to go to the library. We couldn't even look things up on our, just have such access on how to do so many things. And being that we have the internet and we have a computer in our pocket with our cell phones, why does it seem like we're doing less? I feel like if we're exposed and we have the opportunity to learn so much more, why does it feel like we don't take advantage of that a lot of times? I know I'm trying to take advantage of that more. Asen, that's awesome. Your boys can cook, wash their own clothes, help in the house, and that's going to serve them well later. Bella notes, I think it's personality as well. I'm pretty independent and want to learn to do things myself before relying on someone else. Yeah, me too. Jolie, my son's 13. He's been cooking entire meals since age 10, and they're good. That's fantastic. Hey, Sarah Seward Frenchie. Hello. Poof, another Connie who used to love going to the library. Kathy, that is awesome that your dad taught you how to do car maintenance. Maintenance on the house and car. That's what I'm wishing I'd learned. Julie, Markham, my brother is a house husband and my sister-in-law bring home the bacon. Yeah, we're seeing more of that. More just, we don't have to stick to these traditional roles. And I gotta say, I'm liking it. Chicolino, can you please tell more about Tony? Sounds interesting. Well, that would be a very long, entirely different video, but he was very unique and a huge part of my healing after leaving Scientology, which is the cult that I grew up in and was in till I was 40. Mayor's Girl, yes, a lot of guys want a mother to take care of them. I'm not your mama. Yeah, I think there's even a song like that, right? I'm not your mama. Dr. MLS, baby boomer, but you took 2 years of home economics, 1 year of auto mechanics, helped remodel 2 houses, and was besides my dad, handing him tools when he fixed the car. Both parents cooked like a dream. That is awesome. Professor Kakan, good to see you. So much of it is simply continuing to grow up as our brains don't fully develop until about age 26. EKP 13, so your mom and dad both taught you skills. Your dad cooked all the time. And your man now is very handy. I love that. Cubana Chica, yes, I remember when my high school came out with a boys' home ec course. It was surprisingly popular. Wow. That's right, Connie. We just have to keep on learning, and I think that's part of it too, is because we didn't learn it before or we didn't learn it until now doesn't mean that we can't learn it. Cinderella, yeah, teach that kid how to do laundry. That's another thing that I didn't learn how to do. I mean, the basics, yes, but my Tony was so much better at it. My oldest is 29. She's a single mom, 10-year-old son, and he helps with the household. Age appropriate, of course. Yep, Asen, that's good. It's good for them. We got to teach kids how to do things, even if there's technology for it. What if that technology is not there? Joe, you helped your grandpa with the garden. That's great. Ruth, I agree with you. It is never too late to learn. Your mom is 85 and she decided to teach herself to make animal houses. Hedgehog bath. Wow. That is cool. Mock, both my grandmas grew up on farms. One became a surgeon and hunted on horses with the men in the 40s, and the other made her own blood sausage. So strong women are a family thing. Wow. That is super cool. Mischief Manage, I don't know anyone's phone number anymore. My phone remembers them for me. I need to make a good old-fashioned address book. I think about that sometimes too. I only knew two numbers. Tony's and my sister's. I don't even know my kids' phone numbers. I mean, not remembered. I got to put that on my list. Learn your children's cell phone numbers. Julie Markham, my husband and I have decided to welcome a baby if we're blessed. Protecting a child from social media scares me. Is it even possible? My kids grew up on social media. You know, no matter how many, this is just my 2 cents. I think educating them on how to use it and the pitfalls of it and that it's forever, because it's really hard to keep them off of it and away from it. I have friends who said, oh, my kids aren't on Instagram. I don't allow it. And I knew for a fact their kids were on Instagram, just on accounts that their parents didn't know about. Everest, former Scientologist. I escaped with 3 generations of my family 14 years ago. Yes, Connie, yes to strong women. Kelly Copter, I'm a big DIYer. Love it. Yes. Cassie, you're supposed to be working? Me too. But it's always good to see you guys here. Asen, here in Germany, driving a stick shift car was mandatory. I feel like it should be that way here. Oh my gosh, Julie Markham, the card catalog at the library. I remember that. Jolyn, yes, that is a Christmas tree. I have not put up a tree in 3 years, so I'm going with it. I felt like doing it, and my granddaughter was spending the night, and we did it together. Cubana Chica, my current husband, had never cooked a day in his life. He chose to learn to do something special for me when we first got together. Oh, I love that. Malkuth, we were kind of talking about the whole, like how I was raised in a cult, and sometimes I try to figure out if a certain thing that I do or don't do is because of the cult or it's because of the generation I grew up in. And we're kind of talking about how, male, female roles in terms of what you do around the house or cooking or doing things on a car that both can learn and should. And I think the consensus is that makes us more well-rounded individuals and can actually make us better partners when we decide to have a partner. But yeah, it's also kind of all over the place at the same time. Anna, I love that. You cook, your husband cleans, you do laundry together. I love that. My pleasure, Malkuth. Miss Sunrise Dawn, thank you for being here. Ooh, Tanya, we're going to Christmas Tree House, my flatmate, doing a Grinch Christmas tree. Ooh, that sounds fun. Sharon, that's funny. Crisscross crust in your home ec class. Sneaky Jellyfish, is it bad when a man expresses his emotions too much? No, I don't think so. I mean, what's too much, I guess is the question. What's too much? I don't know. Is it too much? I think with most men, traditionally, it's not enough that they express their emotions. But I think in any situation, it's all relative. So it depends on what too much is. I think we can express our emotions, but should still try to, I guess it depends on how you do it. You don't want your children to help you do things unless they truly want to. Cubana Chica, that's hilarious. I would have told my son the same thing if he said something like that. It's interesting, too, how some of you growing up in other countries, too, how your parents, decided what they decided to teach you or not teach you. Yeah, Julie Markham, it sounds like that would keep you very tied up. Laura Font, your dad is very sexist. I always thought when I was a kid that my brother was just the favorite. Now I know it's more than that because he now favors my son over my daughter. Maybe it's just he's able to more relate. Men from his generation too might have. I feel like we've all evolved more when it comes to relationships and communicating and being able to, communicate our needs than just throwing fits about it. Some more than others. I wonder if that's part of it too. Like I was saying, some of this for me is generational, not just because I grew up in a cult. Aloha V-bombs. LJ, I'm so glad. Yes, put up your tree. Everybody put up your trees early. Like I said, I've not really gotten into the Christmas spirit in a few years. You guys who are with me regularly know, my Tony was battling cancer for the last 3 Christmases, and I just didn't feel like something I felt like celebrating. And before he died, we even talked about it, and I told him I was going to put up a tree this year, and he was really happy about that. And so it felt really good to do it. Julie, that's funny. I think we've all done our fair share of sneaking around behind our parents' back. Yeah, Celtic Sailor, you're right. I can't even think of a card that's a stick shift these days. Thank you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Club Brain Fog, your brother taught you how to fix the world with Velcro. That's funny. Oh, Susanna, good to see you. Dad taught me to drive as soon as I got my license, car maintenance, how to use the lawnmower and other tools. Mom told us to get an education or some training and live on your own for a year. Wow. That's some good upbringing there. That is some good upbringing. I'm catching up to y'all. I'm catching up. Leah or Laya? No, I did not. I was originally from Hawaii, and I'm in the Midwest now. Julie Markham, I love that my husband expresses his emotions and vulnerability to me. The more we communicate, the more we love each other. Happy anniversary, Julie Markham. That's awesome. Today's your 3rd anniversary. I love that. Connie B, thank you. So Miss Sunrise Dawn, what does your dad's sign say? If it moves and it shouldn't, duct tape. If it doesn't move and it should, WD-40. Oh my gosh. And I have found both in my garage because I've been trying to figure out this garage the last few weeks. Raynaya. I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's funny. Stick around. You'll learn all kinds of cult tips. If you have your heart set on being a cult leader. K-Rad, that's awesome. Your dad taught you home repair. You're 63 and do mostly all your own repairs. Wow. Okay, so Laura Font said, I think it's cultural as well. I grew up in a small ranching farming town. The girls there know how to drive, shoot, grow, etc. at an early age. It's just a way of life. That is true too. I think so much of it depends on where you grew up. Julie, thank you. Velcro and duct tape. That's right. That's right. So Joe, your mom wanted you to know about the birds and the bees. I said, okay. I don't need to know that, and was all embarrassed. I'd have rather been taught about changing a light bulb. Yeah. Same. Isn't it interesting that we need to talk to our kids about this and have these conversations, but it's uncomfortable for both, let's be honest. Our kids don't want us talking to them about sex, and as parents, it's like not our favorite thing either, but necessary, and it's good when you can have those conversations. Hey, Robert, your biological father finally came back with that gallon of milk. You're feeling blessed today? You should. Asen says both parents wanted a son, so they produced until they got one. The last kid is a boy after 4 girls. Wow. That is funny. So they did it so someone could carry on the name, and then the 2 girls kept the name and not the boy. Goes to show. Goes to show. Thank you, Jason. Mock says, we learned a lot about home maintenance living in a home with Grandpa. Grandpa built before regulations. Oh, yeah. It was expensive to fix before we sold it, but we barely needed a handyman over the years. Wow. River, my dad taught me a lot to hunt and be a mechanic and build with nails and a hammer and some super glue. That's fantastic. Hi, Fizzy. EKP13, you enjoy going and picking up the kids. Cajun Mama, you kept your maiden name too? My daughters did the same, actually. Wait, did one of them? Did she change it back? Yeah, they did. Oh, Cubana Chica, it was a rite of passage for each of the grandkids to go with my dad to the workshop. Sounds of hammering and laughter, and then coming back with a toy in hand and a big smile. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Hello again, Fizzy. Wow, Cassie, that is commitment to have 5 boys before getting that girl. Oh, Susanna, your dad used duct tape to patch carpet. You gave him color tape to match. Oh my gosh, Annie used it. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Wow, Julie, so your mom took you on a women's weekend when you were 10 and she explained everything. She told me to always talk to her about anything. She was great about that. I like that. Arne, hello from India. Cassie, my dad always taught me to not rely on a guy to do things. For me, I am very handy and can do some car stuff as well. That's fantastic. And that's kind of my whole point. That's what I'm wondering about. I love hearing from you guys on this. Asen, my ex wanted me to change back after the divorce because there can only be one, Mrs. Kuzi. I denied him that because I'm stubborn and I make art. That name is my brand. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I kept my name too, LJ. In Norway, you are always your father's daughter. Ah.
Woo! Love that for Norway.
What?
I love that for Norway.
That was my daughter saying she loves that for Norway. Hey, Antics of a Mama Squirrel. Anyways, I love your guys' feedback on this. And I think for now, I really feel like, okay, I don't think the lack of knowing how to do certain things around the house or with my car was not from growing up in a cult. It was from my generation. Mr. Name Not Found. Sup, Auntie? How are you? We're figuring out my life over here. But it's never too late to learn. And I feel very encouraged by that. And I am going to learn how to do a lot of these things. And I'm glad that some of you are learning them too. It's just never too late. We just got to keep learning. Thank you, Asen. I appreciate that. All right. I think I procrastinated long enough. Plus, I think I just got an alert too. Is Reese live? I want to go watch. Yep, Mr. Name Not Found. You're right. Learning keeps mental stimulation. Totally right. Dr. MLS, my daughter and my granddaughter helped me decorate the tree. Laura Fawn, yeah, I know many people like that. I'm going to do it myself, and then it just never gets done. Thank you, Miss Sunrise Dawn, for the reminder. Everybody, hit that like button. Check your subscribe, too. Oh, Mock, I knew I was going to keep the name from childhood on. I was raised in the spirit of the Vikings. I love that. Do your Dan Walks LA dance challenge. I got to think about that. Jolie, you're so right. Natalie, during your formative years, you were learning stuff that didn't translate into the real world. That is absolutely true. Yeah, that's true. So it was a little bit cult. Some of it, I think most of it though was my generation and how my mom was raised. Becky, that's true. It's so interesting that they can be, raise you to be so independent, but then have views like, like that. LJ, thank you. Thank you for being here. All right. Well, this makes so much more sense to me, you guys. It does. And yeah, so I'm going to be learning some things. I'm going to learn how to use that snowblower. My daughter just learned how to clean out the gutters. I think we're going to be able to do this on our own, figure it out. To Miss Sunrise Dawn, I just heard Liz Gale's voice saying, that's culty. That's so funny because I hear that too sometimes in Liz Gale's voice. Mock, you cut the tree and you'll carry it, but you're not decorating it. Thank you, Becky. I think too. I have hope, even for the cooking a little bit. I do. I'm going to figure it out. We're all figuring it out as we go. Yep, David, I just found gloves and I even found some eye protection. So yeah, in all my learning of things, definitely going to want to do that. All right, everybody. Again, do me a favor. Thank you, Julie Markham. Thank you. I really appreciate the encouragement. I feel like we just might be able to pull this off. And I'm proud of that independence. Like, I'm proud of the fact that, I'm learning how to do these things. Hey, Mohammed, we're wrapping up, but hello. You have a great day too, Antics of a Mama Squirrel. Everybody, you guys have an awesome day. Thank you for being here. We're going to do a recap tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Thank you, Jersey Jan. David says, I feel like sitting on my roof and smoking feel like pack on Poetic Justice. I'm not totally following, but I kind of get what you're saying, I think. That's right, Goldilocks. Have a cult-free day. You guys are awesome. Thank you for jumping on with me and always helping me sort my stuff out. I will see you guys tomorrow.